Welcome to another iPaceOwner breaking news, and this is a quite important one for the iPace. This is a new software release for pre-model year 21 cars, and this is S21A 21.10.6 676 and it should be rolling out over the next few weeks. And so it's got some really good fixes for the iPace in here, so let's go through what we've got. So the first thing, if you're in the Hong Kong market, you will get Baidu Car Life, which is very good for that market. I mean, I know it's something which is actually quite commonly used over there, so yeah, good to see that. The USB media player has been improved. It will now remember things like the track number and time position when you restart the car, which is really good because it didn't used to, and you often had to find those again. Vehicle dimension screen not relevant to the iPace because we don't have a tow bar deployment. The Apple CarPlay fix, though, will be really good, and I know a few people have been affected by this. Jack Tams on the Facebook group, for one, was affected by this, where the CarPlay screen will no longer stay frozen on screen after disconnection of the iPhone. There seems to be a few fixes for the iPhone in here, which is quite good to see. Bluetooth device connection status will now be correctly displayed when you turn off the device, which is obviously very useful. And again, another fix for the iPhone. If you had put the car into valet mode and then exited from valet mode, you would occasionally get the iPhone showing both as the Bluetooth and an iPod in the source selection screen, and causing general confusion. There's some improvements to the climate control, general stability improvements, and a fix for the problem where the Incontrol screen on the Touch Flow Duo, that's the little two dials on the middle screen at the bottom of the car, would turn off occasionally without anything from the user. But I actually experienced this once. Just restarted the car and it came back. But yes, it's good to see that's been fixed. Instrument panel cluster, there's a fix for if you change from light to dark. If you've got album art on the instrument panel, that will now be displayed properly. Some fixes for Spotify, lots of general stability improvements in here, not specifically identified as to what they are. In Sweden, there's some improvements on the language translations, which is obviously always good. Low traction, I love this one. Low traction friction launch will now be available when needed, which is always a good thing to have, I think. The correct caller ID will now be displayed on the instrument panel cluster, which is good to see. Improvements to the steering wheel controls doesn't say what they actually are. So this is where I think it gets really interesting. Navigation. The side panel will now display the correct navigation information. That sounds like it should have been there in the first place, but all good. It's actually fixed. And in all markets except China and Japan, the navigation login logout issue has been resolved. Thank goodness for that. A number of times I get back to the car and have to re-log into navigation before I can transfer data across from the phone or whatever. So that's really good to see. Some improvements on the rear seat entertainment, general stability improvements to the system, which is always good to have stability improvements. We just don't say what they actually are. If you've got the television in some markets, there's some improvements on that. And then the one which I think is going to really please a lot of people, iPace time charging. When time charging events are not available, preferred charging period will now always switch off. And I think this is the problem where people were having, where preferred charging was getting left on, and it was preventing them from charging at public chargers. So really good to see that fixed. Yeah, so, and it says there's no known issues in this software release. They always seem to say that. Anyway, sounds like a really good set of fixes. This will be available over the air very shortly, next few weeks. And if you haven't got it, primarily if you haven't got it and you're on an older release, I mean, I think if you've got one of the S20 releases, you will definitely get this over time. But if you say you're on S18 or S17 or even S19, I would chat with your dealer and just see if they can push the latest update to you. Anyway, that's all good stuff. Hopefully you'll see that soon. But yeah, I'm pleased to see it.